Okay, so I think we should start. It's been almost 5 minutes. So I welcome you all to the OSHA class. It's Sadhu Usman Shah, and I'm safety officer, and not just a safety officer. I'm the in charge of Westway Cement Limited Farooqia branch. Also, I have almost 2 years experience in teaching IOSHA and OSHA, and I'm also an assistant professor at P.A.S.S University. Before starting, I request you all to please keep your mic mute so we can have better understanding. If you have any question, you may raise the hand. Like if there is an option in your Zoom class, you can raise your hand and then you can ask your question. And if you have no question, please make sure you do not create any disturbance. I hope it's clear. Okay, so let me take start from the introduction to the OSHA. What is OSHA? OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration. What's OSHA about and what was the history for OSHA and why it was found? We have to understand that. Before, when there was time when the industries were in top, there was the industrial time, there was no safety. There were more industries, but there was the concept of there was no concept of the safety. But there were few organizations in America. OSHA is basically based on America. So there were few organizations, those were working for the safety of their people, but they were not bound to the law.
This meeting
They
is
were
recorded.
they had no legal power. They were just working as a private organizations, and one of them was the OSHA. So you will find different standards of the OSHA. Some are in the 1910, some are in the 1926, some are in the 1960s something. But when was OSHA found? OSHA was found in under the Act of 1970, which was passed in 18th of December something. I don't remember the exact figures, which you can Google. But it was found in the under the Act of 1970, and later it was found in the 1971. So when there is any MCQs or someone asks you when was the OSHA found, so the exact figure you have to tell them is the 1971. Okay, why OSHA and why do we study the OSHA? There is something we have to understand is this standard. OSHA tells you about the standards. It defines the standards. What is standard? Let's suppose you are working in Saudi. There is another workers who are working in Dubai. There are another workers they are working in Pakistan. And in Pakistan, the industries are following a work at height standard of 1.5 meters. In Dubai, they are following the 2 meters. In Saudi, they are following the 1.8 meters, and they have make their own standards. They are not in a single standard. Okay. So by reference to OSHA, OSHA have a vast study in this safety field. So what we do, we take the reference from the OSHA. That OSHA suggests us, recommend us that we have that the work at height standard should be 1.8 meters in the construction site, which is approximately the 6 feet. So that's why what we do, what we say, by referencing to the OSHA, we say that we are following a standard, which is also followed by the Saudi. The Saudi will also follow the same standard, which is of 1.8 meters. Dubai will also follow the same standard, which is of 1.8 meters in the construction site. I hope it's clear and very understandable. If is there any question you may ask, and also stay engaged with me so I can have a better understanding that you are also learning something. Is it clear?
Okay. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Am I going too fast or I'm too slow and I'm not speaking well? You can tell me, okay? I just want you to understand in a better way. Thank you. Okay, what does OSHA require? Determine which OSHA standards apply to your workplace and follow the OSHA standards and requirements. Let's suppose you are working in a school, you are in a university, you are in a hospital, you are in an industry, the petroleum industry, a cement industry, or anything. So you have to understand who are you? You are the safety manager. Okay. As a manager, you have to understand what OSHA standards that are already available on the OSHA website, which is osha.government, osha.gov. That's the official website of OSHA, and it's based in America. So you have to understand what OSHA standards are applied in your industry. If your industry is of the construction, you have to implement the standard of the construction. If it's of general industry, you have to implement of the general industry. And one more thing, again and again in this lecture, we will say that we have to report to OSHA. We have to report to OSHA. We have to report to OSHA. But the thing is, we are not directly bound to report to OSHA because it's for the American people and it's for only for based on the US. So those who are working in the US, the industries and the workers that are relying in the US, those are responsible and those are directly reportable to OSHA. We Pakistanis, we Saudi people, what we have to do, we have to just take the help from it. We are just taking the recommendations and taking the help from the OSHA, but we are not directly reportable to the OSHA. Okay. So what are the OSHA requirements that met at your industry are some of the following. The record keeping, very simple thing. What is record keeping? When we were in school or universities, we had daily attendance sheet. That was also a type of record keeping. We had application, we used to give applications for the medical illness or something or urgent piece of work. You have to write a letter and we have to submit it to the principal or something. They keep into the record that their specific student like Sadhu Shah was absent in that specific day. That was a type of record keeping. But in the if we go to the industry, what is this record keeping industry? To keep the record of everything, like which includes your TBTs, your safety inductions, your LTIs, if any accident occur, if there is any first aid, if there is any incident, or if there is any you can say near miss, you have to keep the record of everything. That's what OSHA is referring to the record keeping. To keep, and when you have to keep the record, OSHA bounds you when you have to keep the record of all work-related work precautions is called the record keeping. Employers of 11 or more employees must maintain records of occupational injuries and illness. Like if you have industry and the people are, there are only 9 people, then you are not bound to report it to the OSHA. Okay. If there are 11 or more people, like more than 11 people, then you can say and you are bound that you have to report it to the OSHA. And you have to keep you have to keep the record and you have to maintain the record. All employers must report to OSHA within 8 hours of any accident that result in fatality or inpatient hospitalization of 3 or more employees. The standard is now different. I have added this a long time ago, but still I do not remove it for a specific purpose. What is the purpose? OSHA tells us now, like before, OSHA tells us that you have to report it to the OSHA within 8 hours if there is any fatality occur, if there is any inpatient hospitalization, any accident occurs, you have to report it to the OSHA within 8 hours for all the reasons. But now what OSHA defines us in, it was changed in 2024 something, that if there is any fatality, if there is any fatality, what is fatal accident? If the person lost his life during an occupation, and that will be considered as a fatality. Another thing which I have to tell you, one is occupational health and safety, and when one is medical health. The difference is in occupational health and safety, when a person is working in an occupation, like he is an industry, he is a welder and he does welding, and during the welding he gets injured, that will be considered in the occupational health and safety. And if a person gets ill due to some, he was working in a home, he have a headache and something, he was at his home, or he was playing some and he get injured, that will be considered in the medical health. But we will discuss the occupational safety and health. If a person during his occupation, like he was a welder or he's a scaffolder or he's a folder something, and he get injured during that in the premises of the industry, then that will be considered in the occupational uh, health and safety. Okay, come back to the record keeping. Now OSHA tells us that if a person that gets uh, fatal accident, if there is any fatal accident in which a person lost his life, that will be reported to the ocean within 8 hours. You are bound to report it to the ocean. Like if you are in America, then you are bound to report it to the ocean within 8 hours. And if there is any other type of accident, like which is in considering hospitalization, or if there's any first aid, or if there any impatient, then that will be reported to the OSHA within 24 hours or in one day. Okay. You have to maintain the record on the basis of yearly, like we have the record of 2025 June till 2026 June. That is the 1 year tenure. And you have to submit the record of previous year in the current year. Okay. Is there any question? Okay. Also, there are some types of forms from which we can report to the OSHA. The types of forms which are not like applicable or which we do not use in our countries, as we are in Saudi and we are in Pakistan. So we do not use that. The forms are 300 form, 300 log, 300A form. So these are three type of form which you can download from the OSHA.government website directly, and you can fill them. One is for like specifically for the workers who got impatient. One is for the you have to combine all the workers and you have to summarize it. These are the different type of sum which we do not discuss because these are not more relevant to our subject as we are not from the America. Okay, is everything clear?
Yes, keep going.
Okay, thank you. Are you understanding? Is it everything is? I hope I'm trying my best to like define everything.
Yeah, but if there is any like image, it's also will be good while you
Yeah,
are
their
talking.
images are on their way. They are coming. Okay.
Ah, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Thank you, man.
Welcome. Now, a very basic, simple thing: PPEs. We discuss the hierarchy of control. And if someone defines the PPs, if someone want to define or want to tell me what is the hierarchy of control and what are the PPs, they can. If anyone?
Helmet, safety glasses, and safety shoes.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else? Okay, well, the hierarchy of control is not part of the OSHA, but I'm just trying to tell you the main understanding for it. What are the PPs? We have the hierarchy of control. You have must have heard about the elimination, the substitution, the engineering control, the administrative control, and the last we have the PPs. So when you want to define the PPs, you can say PPs comes in the last of the hierarchy of control, and these are the last line of defense. Okay, and they are based on the personal safety and their own personal safety, and they are the most least effective control we have in the hierarchy of control. If no, if some of you have understanding of the hierarchy of control, if someone don't have their understanding, I will explain. If there is any hazard, okay, and you want to control it in a better way, in the most perfect way, that we have the elimination that completely eliminate that, remove that completely that hazard. Then we have the substitution, find the substitution for it. Not possible, then we have the engineering control, put some guard on it, barricade it. That is the engineering control. That not possible, then you have to add the signboards. Like there's a fire sign, we have the emergency signs. These are the precautions or the instructions or the safe system of work or the method statement. These are the administrative control or the permits. These all hierarchy of control, which in the first four, like the elimination, the substitution, engineering control, and the administrative control. These controls protects the system. These four are for the system. Like from where the person will get injured. Like if there's a process, these are for the process. Okay, and the last is PPs. That's for the personal safety. When you go to save the process, you save many people. Okay, from that can be affected. If you go to the PPs only, the person who's wearing the PPs will be get safe. So that's the difference between the PPs. Okay, we have different PPs, and the most common PPs are the like it depends on the job specific PPs and the mandatory PPs. But in my industry, and like I'm from the cement industry, there are the uh, three mandatory PPs for the for your like green location, green zone, and there are four mandatory PPs for the red zone, which is for the site. And location like the mandatory PPs are the helmet, the mask, your high visible uniform or high visible vest, and the safety shoes. So we have various type of PPEs and to protect our uh, different like parts. We have the hearing and sight. We have the feet. We have respiratory, head and hand. To protect them, we have their own specific PPEs. If you want to protect a worker from some chemical splash or some dust that can affect the eyes of a worker or the face or the skin of the worker or any like if there's a sharp blade that may cut and may hurt the person, then you provide them the face shield, or if there is a highlight in the welding, mostly in the welding. If you want to protect some worker from that, you can use the face shield. Also, the surgeons also use that. And the doctors, those are surgeons, during the surgery, they also use the face shield. Damage from the chemical splash, dust, and projectiles, wear goggles, glasses, or the face shield. Okay, to protect your head, as we all know, the head part contains the brain. That's the most important part of our body and most important organ that controls almost everything. Okay, you have to protect your head because a minor injury on your head can lead to death, even death. Okay, that's why we have to protect your head. And how do we protect that? By using the helmet. I think almost all of you are from an industry, and we know that we do not allow loose clothing and long hairs in an industry. What is the reason? If you have long hairs or if you have some loose clothing that may get into some machine and they grab it and they can engulf you or can drag you your body towards the machine. So that's the reason. And if you want to protect your head, you have the helmet, and the helmets we have different types: type 1, type 2, type 3, and type 4, which are not like described by the OSHA. They are described by the ANSI, American National Institute for Such Standardization. Something is the full form of it. But mostly with the helmets we use are of type 2, which protects you from the top and the sides as well. Okay. These are the type 2 helmets that we all mostly use. The one I'm using is the 3M helmet. Maybe you are using some other like company, but mostly they are the type 2 helmets. And things we have to understand of the helmet are, you know the drop test for the helmet. What we do, we drop a 5 kg object, a free fall. We give a free fall of a 5 kg object. Like we do not add any force to it. Just give a free fall from 1.5 meters. And if your helmets withstand that pressure or that force, we can say that that helmet is okay. And if it breaks, if there is any crack, we will say that the helmet is not as per the standard. There are some more parts. I think I should open my camera to for your better understanding. Can you all see me? Okay. So this is your helmet.
Yes.
That's the outer shell of it. Okay. And you can see there is a red spot on it. Can anyone tell me what is the red spot on it? Anyone? Okay, I'm just trying to.
Yes, yes,
G?
yes, we see you.
Okay, what's the purpose for this red spot? Do anyone have any idea about it? That's basically known as the ubicator. The ubicator, it detects the or it indicates if there's you have been working in under the sunlight or under like harsh condition, hot weather, it will changes its color into orange and yellow. And when it will changes its the color, you can say that the helmet is no more reliable and it will break easily. So that's known as the ubicator. Okay. More things, you can add your 3M like earmuffs to it as well. There's a chin strip. There's a harness inside it. The harness, you can see the harness. And there are mostly 4 strips, 6 strips, and the 8 strips. And the distance between the outer shell, and the harness is like the standard defined is like it should be like more than 1.5 meters. And in my helmet, it's almost like of 2.5 inches. The chin strip you have where you think like you can fall, the helmet can fall. That's for the chin strip, so you can add. And that's the ratchet to adjust according to the head size. Okay. Okay. Now, the most important thing is, and the critical and the crucial thing is about the mask. You can wear a helmet for 24 hours without any issue. You may feel some uncomfortable, but the thing is you can still wear it. The thing is, like, you cannot stop breathing. You can wear gloves for the 24 hours, you can wear a helmet for 24 hours, you can wear a uniform for the 24 hours, but the thing is you cannot stop breathing for more than a 10 seconds because of the that you do the continuous respiratory, you can do continuous inhalation and exhalation process in which your oxygen, you do breathe fresh oxygen and you do exhale more concentration of this carbon dioxide from your body. If you are in the cement industry and if you have knowledge about the silica dust, so the N95 mask that controls up to 85% of the silica dust, which is about almost 5 microns. The 5 microns of the silica dust is that's the very small particle of the silica dust that's basically affect your lungs and it can cause the cancer as well. Okay, I do am getting some messages. Let me check them. Okay. There's also a well-known disease which is known as the silicosis that is caused due to the that silica dust. Silica, what is silica dust? That's basically the, if you have ever noticed, if you take some part of sand, you will see some shiny crystals in the sand. Have you ever noticed? Anyone? Are you guys with me?
Yes, we are with you.
Yeah. So have you ever noticed there is a crystal particle in the sand? That crystal particle is basically a stone which is known as the quartz. That quartz stone, when it's in the smallest particle, which is about almost like the 5 microns, and that 5 microns particle, that when it goes to your lung part, it sits at on the alveoli, it blocks the alveoli, and with time to time, you start feeling the shortness of breath, and it will also lead to the cancer and the silicosis. If you do not like control it in the time on time, you can lead to the death. And if it's controlled and on like it's not controlled, and if sorry it's controlled on time, you can also cope with it and you can manage it. Okay, you can control it. So mask is used in like most of many industries where there is a hazard of vapors or mist and gases or the dust. It, their mask is mostly used. There's another thing which is used for known as the SCABA. You may have heard about the SCABA, the SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus. You may have seen the scuba divers or the firefighters may have be using the SCABA, which is on their back. There are two cylinders on their back. Have you ever seen that? There's the picture. You may have seen this such mask. Can anyone of you tell me what is inside this cylinder? What is inside those cylinders? Anyone do have any information what is inside those cylinder? How do they breathe? Any?
Oxygen.
So mostly most of us think that there's oxygen in that. So that's not the right answer. I also was thinking once that there is oxygen in it. But the thing is, we do not inhale only oxygen. We inhale a combination of a mixture of gases, which is air, and there's air in that those cylinder. Okay. Okay, so to protect your hands and arms, abrasion, cuts, and punctures, like to protect your arms, there are some job-specific PPEs, which are the cotton gloves. Some are for the insulated gloves if you're working in an electrical equipment. Some are the heat-resistant gloves. Some are the cut-resistant gloves. So they are the job-specific PPEs. But the thing is, to protect a worker's hand, you have to provide them the gloves. Then we come to the shoes. There is a saying that a soldier is nothing without his shoes. Like if you take the shoes from the soldier, he cannot fight properly. Why? He will not be able to walk properly, he will not be able to run properly, and you know how active is a soldier. So that's why there's a saying that the if you take shoes from a worker, sorry, a soldier, he cannot fight. And if you're safety and if you're in an industry, the thing is that you have to understand that you should wear your safety shoes all the time. And mostly the safety shoes are of S3 and S4 class, which is also defined by the ANSI and not the OSHA. And when we use the shoes, when there's a wet condition, we have the slip resistant shoes. For the chemical splash, we have the long shoes to protect your worker from the chemical splash. Falling objects, we have the toe on in front of the shoes. That's to protect your toe and your feet. And from the cut and puncture, we have the strong sole, which is also comes with the steel plate. So there, if there any like spike or is there any nail on road or when you step on it, it will not puncture the shoes and your feet. It will bend and it will protect your feet. Okay. I hope it's clear. Should I move forward?
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Then we have the fire protection. To protect the fire and to protect yourself from fire, you have to understand the what is a fire. Do anyone of you know about the fire triangle? If anyone of you want to leave, I think they have some emergency, they can leave. Okay. Fire protection. Do anyone of you know the fire triangle? What is a fire triangle?
Yes, it's fuel and heat and oxygen.
Fuel, heat, and oxygen. The triangle, most of the fires are initiated by the fire triangle. There are more like the pentagon as well of the fire, but we in this study we understand the one of our friend wrote like, sorry, my wife is not good. Then he connected like Wi-Fi. I thought there was some emergency, sort of emergency. So I got the right answer that fire triangles contains of the heat, fuel, and oxygen. If there is any fire initiating, there must be three of the things available. One will be the heat, the source of ignition, the source of fire, any spark. That will be the ignition. Oxygen, which is already available in the air, and the fuel. The fuel is wood, paper, cloth, trash, combustible material, petroleum, gases. That's the fuel. When all these three combines in some place or area, then there's a chances of high chances of that the fire will be initiated. Okay. And if you want to control it, if you want to control the fire, if you remove, so you can remove any of the part, like you can remove the fuel, you can remove the heat, you can remove the oxygen from it, and you will be able to control that fire. And by understanding the triangle, you understand that the fire, how the fire extinguishers work, what the fire extinguisher do, they control any of the component of the fire, any from one of the triangle. So that's how a fire extinguisher work. We have different classes of fire. The class A, class B, class C, class D, and there is another class which is class K. And recently I was studying about the class L fire. Anyone of you know about the class L fire? That's something new. Anyone? Okay, so the class L is fire for the lithium batteries. The batteries we have in our mobiles and laptops in households. The lithium batteries, that's for the class L. They have defined it into the different class, which is a class L fire. So the class A file, why we have to understand the classes, why we have defined them in the classes, that's very important for the understanding. So the answer is, I'm giving you an example. There is some sort of short circuit and some sort of fire on on an electrical equipment, that is transformer, that's some sort of server, that's some sort of DB, that's some sort of substation, and that have catched a fire. So can you throw water on it? What your common sense say? Can anyone answer by using their common sense? I'm waiting for your responses. I just want you to stay engaged with me so I can better understand you are also trying to learn. May I repeat my question? So my question is that if is there any sort of fire on an electrical equipment, the fire is on any electrical equipment, and that equipment is, for example, transformer or a substation. Can I throw water on it? No. So that's very obvious why you will get electrocuted yourself because the water is a good conductor, and if you try to throw water on it, you will get electrocuted as well. So that was your. I was just trying to make an understanding for you so that you can understand why we have different classes of fire and why we have different types of fire extinguishers. So, for we have defined the class A fire, which is wood, paper, cloth, and trash. If any sort of fire is on some sort of elements that which are the wood, paper, cloth, and trash, that will be considered in the class A fires, according to OSHA. You may have questions like we have studied different classes in other areas or other books. So right now we are discussing the OSHA. So we will learn according to the OSHA. Okay. Then we have the class B fires. The class B fires are the flammable liquids, oil and gas or grease. The fire which is initiated by on the liquids of the gases, the liquids like petroleum liquids, okay, or the oil and gas or grease, that will be considered in the class B fires. Then we have the electricity, like class C, electrical energized electrical equipments. If you see any fire on those such elements, such components like electrical equipments, that will be considered in the class C fire. And we have the class D, the combustible metals. We have titanium, potassium, sodium, uranium, magnesium. These are some elements which do make heat, do initiate heat, which by doing some chemical reaction, and that are considered in the class D, the combustible metals. The class K is considered in the kitchen fire, the fire which is initiated due to the fats or the oils, fats. That is in class K, kitchen fire. And last, I told you about the class L fire, which is not the part of this training, but still, I want you to have a better understanding. As we understand, there are the different classes of fire. So there are we have the different types of fire extinguishers as well. Ji, you want to ask something? Sorry, I don't understand your question. Can you please?
هو اللي يلعب لنا للشايب ولا اخوي اللي
Kindly keep your mics mute. So the four common fire extinguishers are the all-purpose water, which is not mostly used, which is replaced by the hydrants, fire hydrant system. Carbon dioxide, the CO2 fire extinguisher. We have the multi-purpose dry chemical, which is known as the dry chemical powder, and we have the DCP, the dry chemical powder, okay, dry powder. Each kind of extinguisher has their own specific use. We also have a AFFF, which we will discuss on as well, okay? We have a fire extinguisher of, let's suppose we are studying in this, we have a fire extinguisher of the water, which is used only on the class A fires. And as I told you before, the class A fires are the wood, paper, cloth, and trash. If you see any fire on the wood, paper, cloth, and trash, then that you can cover, and that fire you can control by using a fire extinguisher of the water. And what does a fire extinguisher of water contains? It have water in it, and it have a pressurized air in it. And what is the purpose of this pressurized air? Can anyone tell me? The cylinder is only filled with the water, and the purpose and the agent which will control the fire is only water. Then why they have added the air in it? It's very simple and logical thing. I just want you to stay engaged with me so I can try to understand. You can have a better understanding. Why we have air in it?
Because it's easier to pressurize the air inside
Yeah,
the cylinder.
water does not have any its own pressure. So what they do, they add some pressure in it. By adding the pressure, you will see another thing that there is a pressure gauge available. pressure gauge available. If the pressure gauge is on the green, you can say that the extinguisher is safe to use. If it's below that green line, it is yellow, then you can say, oh, sorry, the red line, you can say the extinguisher is not ready to use because some may have used or there is maybe a leakage in it. If it is in the high, it's more than green, then you can say that it's over pressurized and it may blast, or it may while using it may explode. That's the reason there is a pressure gauge available on it, and it will indicate that the how much pressure is available in it, and if you want to use it, you can use it or you cannot. The second, we have the carbon dioxide extinguisher. The color coding for the water is red, okay? The color coding. No, I'm not talking about the color of the cylinder. I'm talking about the coding of the color coding of the fire extinguisher. The second we have is of the carbon dioxide, the CO2 cylinder. Here you will not see any additional pressure. Here you will not see any pressure gauge. Why is that?
Because use one time,
Because of what?
use one time, just when you
No,
remove it, the
no, you can use all the extinguishers multiple times. Once you have
no.
used it, there will be no, you cannot use again, but you can refill it, okay?
Ah,
Yeah, that's not the right answer. I will explain. I just want other students to take part in it as well. But thanks you for your answer. Do anyone want to?
For
Mhm.
electrical and maybe chemical.
No, I'm not talking about where to use. I'm just talking about why there is no additional pressure inside the carbon dioxide, why there is no pressure gauge available. Okay, I will explain. There was pressure available in the water extinguisher, as we all see that before. But there is no pressure available, additional pressure available in the CO2 cylinder. The reason is the CO2 itself a gas and it's less denser than the air. Every particle of inside the cylinder will move out or will come out in the pressure as it's itself a gas. There is no additional pressure needed to pressurize the CO2. That's one of the reasons. The second reason is of having no pressure gauge, that it's chilled, very like it's in very chilled vibe, like when they are filling. It's very in minus temperature. They cool it down to the minus temperature, and because of that, the pressure gauge does not work perfectly. So they do not add any pressure inside the CO2 cylinder. And the color coding for the CO2 cylinder is the black. And it's best for the class C fire, and the class C is of the electrical equipment and electrical energized equipments. Now I have a question, very interesting question for you all of you, okay? I want all of you to take an interest in it. I'm inside a confined space and there is some sort of electrical equipment that like which catched a fire, okay? And I have a carbon dioxide cylinder. Can I use it or not? If you want me to repeat the question, I will, but I want you to understand the question, okay? Okay, I'm repeating my question. I'm inside a confined
Okay.
space and there is some sort of fire on a electrical equipment. And I only have a carbon dioxide cylinder. Can I use that CO2 cylinder or not?
I think not.
And why?
Because it's carbon.
Sorry, you just voice cut off. Why is that?
Because it's fire to carbon.
Fire 2? Sorry, I just want to apply. I didn't understand your answer.
if we lower the oxygen level by using carbon
Yeah,
dioxide, we control the fire.
Yes, your answer is absolutely right. If you are inside a confined space, you are not able or you're not allowed to use the carbon dioxide cylinder. Why is that? Because carbon dioxide gas is toxic for you. If you use it and if you are in a confined space, the oxygen level may drop, the carbon dioxide toxicity may rise, and you will may feel dizziness, or you may fall, or it can also lead to death. Understood? We have the DCP, the dry chemical powder cylinder, and wait, let me get to the answer. Okay. We have the DCP cylinder, the most widely used, and because it can be used on Class A, Class B, Class C fires. That's why it's mostly used and mostly available, and you will see the DCP cylinder most of the time. What is inside the DCP cylinder? There is some sort of like the powder in it, and the powder, the chemical composition of powder is of the monoammonium phosphate, something which you can Google, and there is an additional gas on it which is of the nitrogen. So the thing to understand is, again, before we understood that in water fire extinguisher there was additional air, pressurized air. Here we see the pressurized nitrogen in it. Why do they do add the nitrogen in it? Because the nitrogen does not like react with the powder inside it, and it also does not affect. It also increase the lifespan of the fire extinguisher. That's why they use the nitrogen. Again, as they have added the additional pressure inside the extinguisher, so that's why they have the pressure gauge available. And same is the story, same is the case like we discussed in the water. The pressure gauge, if it's in green, it's safe for use. It's in yellow, not safe for use, and if it's in red, it's over pressurized. You can use it on the Class A, Class B, Class C fire. Now, the question is, there's a fire on an electrical equipment. Again, electrical equipment. Okay. We have the two type of fire extinguishers. One is of the DCP and the second is of the carbon dioxide. Which will I prioritize and why? Can you answer if anyone? It can also be used for the Class C fire, and the CO2 can also be used for the Class C fire. Now I have two options. Which will I will select first? I need answers. I need long answers.
Let's start with one that not
Which one?
connecting electric.
No,
So
can you repeat your answer?
we should start with the one that's not electrical connection, but it doesn't do
No,
electrical
like I'm
connection.
giving this scenario. We have electrical, we have
Mm.
fire. It's not logical. This is just you have to choose the one extinguisher. Okay, there's a fire on electrical equipment, and you have to choose one. One is of the CO2, and this other is of the TCP. Which one will I use first? Okay, let me give the answer if you don't know. The answer is we will first prioritize the carbon dioxide. Okay, the CO2 cylinder. Why? The CO2 is itself a gas. If you use on it and some equipment, it will leave no residue. There will be nothing left behind, and it will not affect any other thing except that the one you are using or the equipment. That almost it will be like it will having a fire. It will be get affected, but not from the carbon dioxide cylinder. But if you use the DCP, what will happen? The DCP is all is a powder, and if you use the powder, what will happen? It will stay on the other equipments. It will stay on the everything in the room, or if it's an open area, it will stay and it will make a blanket all over the place. So what will happen with time? The part which is of iron, they will get rusty, and it will be very hard for you to clean that equipment. And if it's like electrical equipment, like very critical, you have to replace it. So that's the why we have to always prioritize the carbon dioxide cylinder. But if it's not available and you think it will affect someone's life if I didn't control the fire, then you can use the DCP as well. But it should be on the second priority. Okay? Okay, so Another, we have fire extinguisher of the AFFF. The AFFF fire is mostly used for the kitchen fire and the petroleum fires. And what's inside the it's in there, it contains of fats and water, or mostly the fats and the water. They are in the AFFF, and it stands for aqueous film forming foam. What it does, it makes a foam on the top of like, even if you use on a water, if you use any equipment, so it will make a foam on it and it will cut off the oxygen. That's how the AFFF work. So now you have understood the classes of fire. Now you have understood the types of extinguisher. Now we will understand a very simple method which is known as P.A.S, well-known method. The pull the pin, aim at the base of fire, sweep and squeeze. Squeeze and sweep, sorry. P.A.S method. The first thing you have to remove is the pin. Like you in the movies or in the games, you may have seen a grenade. What they do, you remove the locking system which is of the pin. There are many benefits of pin. The main benefit of the pin is that if anyone who doesn't know there is a pin, or who have no knowledge about how to use a fire extinguisher, and he's trying to play with it, like he want to just want to like play, or trying to like the curiosity, want to kill the curiosity with it, how the extinguisher works, and takes the extinguisher, steel extinguisher, and try to use it, he will not be able to use because of the pin. The second thing, if extinguisher falls, if the fire extinguisher falls and if there is no pin, it will squeeze the handle and all the agent will come out. That's the second reason. Third reason, if I'm a safety officer and I want to inspect a fire extinguisher, and if I see there is no seal on the pin, like there's part which is called seal, when you remove the pin, the seal will break. So that can how I can identify that someone have used the fire extinguisher and didn't tell us about the usage that they have been like using the fire extinguisher. It may be, so then we can do the follow up, and we can do the try to figure it out, like who have been using the fire extinguisher or misused it. Another thing, when you are trying to pull the pin, try to keep the extinguisher on the floor and do not uh, put your hand on the handle, because sometimes by adding your own force you cannot able to pull the pin. So but just keep the extinguisher on the floor and do not squeeze it while removing the pin. Just try to like pull the pin. Now you are able to use the extinguisher. Then you're not allowed to use the extinguisher. Why? Because you have, like in the games or in the movies or in the real life, when we try to hit a target, what we do, first we aim at it, we make the target, we make the aim towards it. When we aim, after that we trigger it, or we do the make the fire. Okay, so what will happen by aiming, you have to ensure you always aim at the very base of the fire. What will happen by aiming at the base of fire, that from where the fire is being initiated, you can control it by using the fire extinguisher. As we all know, the extinguisher is very limited. It has limitations. It can be used for few seconds. So you have to use it very efficiently. So then you have to aim at the base of fire. Now you are allowed to squeeze. When you will squeeze the agent inside it, if it's in the water in it, it will come out. If there is any DCP, dichemical powder, it will come out. If it's AFFF, the agent will come out from there. Then you have to sweep, cover all the area. Do not stick to one area. Like this is the complete area you want to cover. So do not just hold to this side. You have to sweep like this. Okay. So you can cover all the area and you can use the extinguisher efficiently. That's the very simple method for the using a fire extinguisher, which is known as the P.A.S method. And if you have any question till now, you may ask. Anyone? Okay, so I think that's enough for today. It's almost been an hour, and I want you to give any feedback. So if there's any improvement I want to make, or you think I should make, you can. Okay?
Okay, thank you so much. Is the next class going to be tomorrow at the same time?
Yeah, inshallah, tomorrow at the same time.
Okay, that's good. Thank you so much, man.
Welcome. Any feedback you want to give, you can. Okay? It will be till 3 to 4 days, mostly maximum. And can we have the slides? I will share with I will share with you. Okay? I will share the slides.
Mister, what about the attendance?
Attendance, I'm not, they didn't told me to take the attendance. I do have record in my Zoom meeting. I will fetch the data from it, okay?
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you all for joining. Inshallah, we'll meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Welcome. Fi aman Allah.